Gladiators, TGIT is back, and it's back with a bang. Tonight, we're breaking down the madness of the Scandal Season 6 premiere, coming right at you after this.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Will we be all right?
I don't know. It's been a while.
I don't know about that.
I think so. I hope so. I hope
After this episode,
Who knows?
I'm not going to be all right.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Scandal Season 6 after show here on AFTERBUZZ TV. I'm so stoked to be here tonight. This episode was insane. But before we get into that, I want to introduce myself to you guys. We have a brand new panel this season.
Yes,
We're all happy to be here. I am your host, Christine Alexis. You can connect with me on Twitter and Instagram at Christine Bean. I'm going to kick it off to everyone else.
Hey, and I'm Ryann Graham. You can find me on Twitter at Ryan with 2 N's Graham, and on Instagram at Instagram, like the Teddy Graham.
Hey guys, I'm Parris Rose. You can catch me on Instagram at Parris Rose.
Hey everyone, I'm Jessica Williams, and you can find me on Twitter at @IM_Miss Jessica.
Nice. So we got everyone in studio today.
Yes. The premiere, the kickoff.
All right.
A
Well,
long wait.
first impressions. How are you feeling, guys? Because I was kind of overwhelmed after the last scene cut. I was like, oh, okay, wow, okay, it's done.
I was overwhelmed after the first 10 minutes. Like,
Yeah.
I couldn't catch my breath.
Literally.
Look, can we just say we're so happy that Scandal is back?
Yes.
Oh my
After forever.
goodness. So it's basically been like 9 months since they left us off. And then, you know, we had to go, I don't know about y'all, I binged and I watched the season finale.
Yeah.
And my heart dropped again because I was like, oh no, this is where they left us.
Right.
I was so excited. I'm like, yes, tonight.
And it was so weird because I feel like that where we were in the country at that time and where we are today
Yes.
is so different. So I was really excited for the show to come back and be like, how are they gonna like
Yes.
spin these things? Because it looked like for a long time the show and reality were reflecting each other. So it was kind of cool to see it play out on TV. And then I mean, we all know what happened in November, but like
That's-
yeah,
That's one of the really cool things that I've always appreciated about Scandal. I mean, whether or not it's intentional, you know, they've paralleled the things that are going on. So coming into this, seeing all the promos, I was like, wait a minute, like, timeline-wise, we're kind of off.
Right.
So I was like, are we going to be in the future? Are we going to get bits of the past? Like, how are they going to do this? And, you know, all the promos, like you said, they said the first 10 minutes, it's going to be insane. So I had, like...
And it was.
yeah.
It delivered.
Disappoint.
Oh my God. So speaking of which, the episode begins with Huck and Quinn kind of in their normal stakeout mode in the forest, looking for clues, talking about God knows what. I don't even remember at this point.
Marriage.
But
She was talking about marriage.
Which
but-
at the time it's so weird.
Yeah.
at the time we didn't get it.
Yeah.
So they're chatting, and they go up to this, it looks like a deserted cabin almost in the woods. And my first thought is Olivia's probably in there. I mean, I don't know, I thought they were looking for her, or I really wasn't sure. And then seconds later, it blows up.
Right.
Yeah.
When I saw that cabin, I honestly was like, I was like, oh, Mellie lost, because remember, like Hillary Clinton, once she lost, like people like said they spotted her like out in the woods and stuff, and I was like, damn, they gonna do Mellie like that? Like,
I know.
Which, because I was like, why would they do that? Like that's too close to like reality. But I was like, well, Mellie lost. That was my first thought.
I thought she lost,
She's
too.
crying in this
Yeah,
damn
it threw
cabin.
me off because I was like, okay, is that? I thought it was Olivia, like going for the sun, being, you know, her Vermont,
right. I
her
thought so,
secondary
too.
Vermont. So I'm like, why are they? And then honestly, I was like, are we in the middle of the episode? I'm like, is this the beginning? It threw me off so bad. I'm like, no, we need to go back to election night.
Yeah.
So
Well, shortly after we do, you know, thanks to Shonda Rhimes, she always gives the viewers what they want. So shortly after that scene, we're taken back to a flashback of the aftermath of the presidential election. We're like in the thick of it. It's election night, and everyone's pacing around the room. You know, the last few tallies are being counted, and it, just like in true Scandal forms, it comes down to that one county left.
Right.
We just need those votes. And immediately I'm like, oh my God, are we gonna have the same thing
Defiance.
happen?
Like, yeah,
with
like
Defiance?
It's too real. I'm like, I can't handle this again.
Yeah.
I can't.
it was very stressful. I felt like I had PTS
Yeah,
of the
PTSD.
election. Like literally, I was getting emotional.
Yeah,
I
me
was
too.
breathing heavy. I was thinking about being in that bar that I was at the
In
night
that
of
moment,
the election,
yeah.
waiting for that one state to come in.
Flashback. Not ready.
Exactly.
Too
Anyway,
soon.
I'm going back. Too much. Too much.
Too soon.
Did anyone else think? Because Hillary or not Hillary, Mellie was the Republican candidate in Scandal, and like when they were like debating, oh well, California. I'm like, when has California ever been a damn red state? So I was like, I mean, I look for the sake of the show, sure, but I'm like, in reality, I'm like, that would have never even if it would come down to California, like, well, Mellie, you should have
made it Florida.
Yeah,
they
that would have been
should have made it Florida.
That would have been crazy.
Florida.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it doesn't take long before our questions are answered.
Yeah.
Shortly after, I think 2,000 some odd votes are left to determine the winner, and President-elect Vargas is determined the winner. I mean, were you shocked?
Yes.
I was happy. Only because I
you're
thought
happy?
because I
Unpopular opinion alert.
I know, right? I'm sorry, guys, but he's actually a good candidate.
Yeah.
He was like actually wanting to do good for the country, and considering our new president, I was just thinking, you know what? In the show, it's actually gonna work out.
Right.
That's what I was thinking.
And like
First
I feel,
Latino. You know?
Exactly, and I feel like him as a character, he was not flawed. Like even Cyrus himself said it. He's the one. Like he like painted this like picture of this man, and then, honestly, even when you saw him interact with stuff, he was a really nice guy. So I can see where you come from, Parris, where it's like, you know, of the two candidates, because we also know that Mellie has been through some stuff. Like she's kind of crazy.
Exactly.
So like I don't know. I think if I were in the Scandal world, I probably would have voted for Frankie Vargas too.
Huck did.
Yeah,
And he's an OPA associate.
Which also can Huck vote? Because like, hey, what is Huck's name? Like, or what is his real? Like, I'm like, are you a real person? Like, I feel like you were very off the radar.
Does he have a social?
Well, apparently millions and millions of people can vote illegally.
And so see now Huck is out here pushing this propaganda that he's
right.
Damn it, Huck, why are you voting? No, I'm just kidding. But
I was surprised. I like him, but Cyrus is just so dangerous. So he like tainted. Vargas for me, and but then also I think it was just like that aftermath of wanting a female president. I'm like, maybe they can make it happen. Maybe we can live vicariously through this show. Yeah. And so I was shocked.
Yeah, that is true. I think the idea of because I think, at least I don't know. For me, I like would not expect us to not have a female president at this time when we left the show last year. I was like, oh, surely Mellie's gonna. So I do think that would have been nice to have a vicarious life. With her, but I mean, but then again, we don't know what's going to happen.
That's very true. Yeah,
so to make it interesting,
she might just turn around and do something.
That's true.
But yeah,
I will say I was a bit surprised at first too. I mean, for the sake of the storyline, I guess he had to win, but considering Shonda Rhimes in general is very female-driven. Her shows are still female-driven. I thought that she would have given us a sort of like a fantasy world in this case with Scandal, because a lot of people wanted Hillary to win, and they were bummed that we're now living in the Trump's America. And I was like, wow, it'd be really cool if the show gave us like a different perspective. Like, what if the woman had one? And it to me was just a different dynamic in the sense that the candidates weren't so black and white like they were in real life. Like you know, like you said, Vargas was a good guy. I liked him a lot.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
I really did. So it was kind of hard to be Team Mellie, I will say.
Yeah.
And that was a stretch.
But you know what what might have swayed my vote was when I saw her in the bathtub with the champagne. She goes, "Today in this space, I'm gonna be messy or petty."
Oh yeah, that was a great line. She said, "Out there, I am gracious. In here, I am spiteful and petty."
I'm like, you know what? You might have my vote for that one.
I feel like they were playing with our emotions a little bit because it's like our heart pulled to him because he was a nice guy, but our whole team, our people, all of them were in this one room.
Yeah,
all of Mellie's team, and I felt like that moment that Olivia went up to Mellie and was like, snap it, get it together.
Right.
I felt like we kind of had an inside peek of like what actually happens, like the breakdown level. Not everyone has Olivia Pope next to them to pull them back from it. I love how she was writing out her words on the sheets of paper. Yeah. Now say goodbye.
That was a dose of tough love right there. She's like, "Oh, you got a call." And that was a good call by Olivia. She always knows the right call to make. Well, almost always.
Yeah.
Side note: did anyone think it was weird that Charlie was like there with them election night, like running the campaign. I'm like,
that was random.
And I feel like maybe I need to go back and rewatch it because like I remember him being around, him and Quinn being a thing, but I'm like, when did he
like with OPA?
Right, and that's what I'm saying. Like I was like, when did he become like the team? Like I knew he was with Quinn, which I'm like also weird, but fine. But I was like, that felt weird to me.
Did everyone forget?
I think we forgot something.
Yeah, I'm like, when did that happen?
He hadn't been on the show since Christmas time when he rekindled himself
so
with her.
Anything.
Yeah, he hadn't been on the last half of
the
last season.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was like, where did you come from?
Oh, okay. I just thought, like, I guess I forgot.
Well, because Marcus was like OPA, so like that's why I was like, which I mean, he went on to be White House secretary, so like
that threw me off.
Yeah.
But I feel like I vaguely remember there being because he was mad because he felt like he wasn't on the team and like he got upset with them because you know those three are like murderers.
Yes. Yeah, you know.
So like murderers. So I remember there being like this big blow up, and like I remember him when he was like helping Mellie, like because remember they had that like weird moment, and so I feel like through that he moved on to the White House. I vaguely remember that being a thing because I remember him really being upset. He's like, "You guys don't let me in," and I'm like, I get why they don't because it's like you don't really know what we do and who we are, and you were better. Not that they're bad people, but like this is not you don't want to play this game. So I don't know.
Yeah, but obviously things have changed from that point. So I guess we'll get to the meat of the episode, which was President-elect Vargas being assassinated when he was taking the stage to greet everyone and accept. And in that moment, he's shot, but only he is shot, not Cyrus.
Was Cyrus on stage?
Yeah,
Cyrus was on stage.
Because remember, he kind of backed up, like,
So Frankie Vargas was hit by 3 bullets, one in the arm, one in the stomach, and one that went from his face through to his skull to the back of his brain, completely shattering the side of his face and leaving him in critical condition while everyone is left to pick up the pieces. Like, Mellie's team was completely stunned by the fact that they lost. Then to top it off, you have this crazy plot twist right after that.
Right.
Boom, he's assassinated.
Yeah, crazy. I feel like in true Scandal form, I feel like I wasn't as shocked by it. As soon as he was up there waving his hand,
you called it.
He's gonna die. Like I was like, I like literally was like, because I was like, there's no way. I was like, there's no way he's making it out of this episode. Just something about that frame seemed very familiar to when President Graham got shot. I was like, this seems too familiar. But I don't.
Right.
I just feel like, where's secret security?
Right.
Well, I wasn't the premises secure. I was completely caught off. I'll be honest. I didn't think that he wasn't going to get not a word in this episode. Like he didn't even speak.
Yeah.
I figured he may have been up there, accepting and maybe in a different way. I didn't think at that moment because, as you said, it's so secure. Like how did someone get a gun in? So that threw me. I mean, I know all of us were like, oh, it was like a big gas. We're like, oh my God, we're so loud. But yeah, sad.
It is sad.
And I'm no psychic, but I'm not gonna lie. I did think it was Cyrus. I mean, Cyrus was gonna kill his own husband when they just had a child. So I was like, Cyrus, right away. Like, I was like, if not Cyrus, Mellie. That's what I was thinking.
And
I don't know that Mellie had it in her, especially with Olivia being.
Remember that bus of people she killed?
But she didn't know. She didn't know.
Yeah,
She's provided a blanket list.
Yeah, true.
I don't know. Part of me is still like, I do agree that it seems like a Cyrus thing, but
yes.
I also I feel like Mellie desperately wants to be the president, and I'm like, is this really outside of her wheelhouse? Like, if we really think about it, like, I'm like,
But going back in like just the history, there has never been a time that Mellie has initiated something on her own. She may have been a part of a coalition of doing bad things, but it's never been her original thought. Or she's like, you know what, let's do harm.
Right.
And then her emotions were kind of flaky this episode, going back and forth from telling Olivia, you know what, no, I do not want to, be president anymore. I'm scared. I want to go home.
Yeah.
To her almost like letting Fitz walk off the balcony without saying, I want this. So she was kind of undecisive. I feel like if someone really wanted it, she'd be like, me, I should be next. And kind of.
But at the same time, Cyrus also was catatonic
Played in
shock.
shock.
So I'm saying, you know what I'm saying? Like, so like, I don't, that's what I'm saying. Like, I understand, but like, I'm like, because when he was doing that, I was like, oh damn. Like, I literally was like, well, maybe.
I think that all made us pause.
Yeah. I was like, oh well, maybe. And so I don't know. I still don't know what I think about.
I think he did it.
I don't know.
I think that he's a good actor.
Yeah.
I think that he is evil. And that's exactly what he would do.
Well,
yeah.
at this point, you know, everyone is left to pick up the pieces of the situation, specifically President Fitz. He is now tasked with the burden of endorsing who should take up the oath of the presidency at this point, because you know, he sits down with David in the Oval Office and they kind of discuss the legal ramifications of just what's supposed to happen here. There was not a precedent set for this, because technically, you know, they go into this discussion about the Electoral College, which was discussed a lot in our real life election, just how that can really change things. So I love that the show brought that up and kind of brought that into the conversation. So now Fitz has to decide, does he endorse his ex-wife? Does he endorse Cyrus? You know, he's torn. There are so many layers to both of his relationships with either of them.
Right. And I feel like with those two, like he even explains it, it's like if he picks Mellie, it's like I basically am just doing what I want, and like I'm siding with my wife and kind of like playing my own
ex-wife.
being my own ex-wife. My bad, you're right. And being like kind of like
clear.
Yeah,
Be clear.
that is true, baby mama. But or do I pick Cyrus, who the people didn't vote for? So it was like, it was weird to me. I was a little confused by it because I'm like, well, couldn't you just pick someone else? Honestly, I was like, I hope he picks Olivia. Low key. I was like,
now that would have been a real
Pope?
scandal.
That's
His mistress. She didn't even run. I was gonna let her win.
how great.
But I feel like
the
what you
worst.
said, yes. You know, Cyrus, the people didn't choose him, but on top of that, you know all of Cyrus's dirt and secrets, and you
Yes.
fired him twice. Like, come on, you wanted him out of this White House. And I felt that Mellie, she deserved it, and she earned it, and she could do the job.
Very true.
You know, and she has Olivia.
Right. Yeah. Well,
I mean,
When
when all
enough.
fails, you have Olivia.
honestly, I'm also thinking, I'm confused. Why does Cyrus want to be president so bad? Like, I
likes
like
power.
He
and
loves
I
power.
guess, but
He played second fiddle to somebody who he
His
felt
whole
didn't
life.
deserve it for the last 2 terms.
Yes.
So I think that, especially with the way season 5 ended, he had so many moving parts and pieces to make sure that Frankie was in place. It's not far off to think that he would do the same for himself.
Right.
That's just the way that I saw it.
it just blows my mind. I think that because I'm like,
We
what
were
do you even
sleeping on
do?
Cyrus.
I, know,
Yeah.
I used to like him. I just was like, wow, Cyrus seems
I used to
cool.
like his
I did.
character. Yeah.
I still like his character.
I mean, I love to hate
shaded
it
up.
Changed.
Right. I
can't
love to hate
remember.
him.
There was a breaking point. There was a turning point, I feel, with him.
Because he
got dark.
Yeah, really like and I think it was when was it James? Was that his
Yes.
ex or widow now?
Yeah, his
Yes.
when Jake killed him.
And I was like I think that was when I really was like, oh, you are.
That's me. Same.
Yeah, you
slimy
really
person.
messed up.
Like nothing is off limits for you, not
No,
even family.
not
So that's when I
nothing.
realized, okay, he's evil. Like evil.
So that kind of brings us to this point now. After Fitz and Olivia have a conversation, you know, she kind of prompts him, obviously, to choose her candidate, Mellie, but he needs to, you know, have a definitive answer and just a clear frame of mind for who he wants to pick. So enter Papa Pope, our favorite guy that we love to hate.
He keeps it real.
And he does. Papa Pope really plants the seed in the episode that it was Cyrus. And I think that's so key. Like, why did he say it?
Yeah.
And you know, with Papa Pope, there's always so many layers. So, you know, Olivia brings this information back to Fitz, and he demands proof. He will not make a decision without proof,
Right.
which sends OPA into a frenzy at this point.
Right.
I thought it was fascinating what Papa Pope said to her. He was like, you lost because you feel that I am the predator. And you know how he speaks in mysterious ways?
Yeah.
I was like, let me ponder on that. I felt like he was saying she's so distracted with going with what's right in front of her that you have to peel back the layers of the onion to really find the truth. Because I don't think she originally thought it was Cyrus. So I think that he kind of just gave a little wisdom, saying look a little deeper.
Yeah.
But I love Papa Pope.
I do too. Oh, I think he is one of the best TV
Wisdom.
villains
Oh my
ever.
gosh,
He's
You
so
hate him and you
good.
love him.
But I feel like he also was the type who would throw those little things out, like those drops of wisdom, because he's really like. So yeah, peel back the layer to see Cyrus, but then you peel back a couple more layers,
Yes.
and Papa Pope's under
Right,
it too.
I
Like,
don't know what to believe with Papa
You never
Pope.
use
Like,
them all for
things,
no.
yeah.
I'm like, oh, because he was saying, I am your father. Like, I would never hurt you. But I'm like, I don't know, Papa Pope. Like, you've done some messed up things. I don't know what to believe with
He's very scary.
Yeah.
Like,
him. He is.
I mean, either way, he's convincing enough that Olivia believes him, and it sends OPA into full-on search mode. They're looking for leads. They're trying to track any incoming tips or calls, peeling through every single piece of information, whether there were texts that were sent or money transfers, anything that could connect Cyrus to the shooter, who they, announced in the episode that they found the shooter. And I feel like in this point, like Liv, she's going after this obviously to find the truth, but there's like something else behind it. Like I feel like her desire to be in the White House pushed her even further to find the truth, because she was not going to give up.
Right.
She wasn't done with the situation yet.
Because even after Mellie was like, "This is dangerous," like I watched President-elect Vargas get shot. I've had so much happen to me. I lost my son here. My marriage died here, and honestly, when she was giving that monologue, I was like, "Oh, maybe she does deserve an escape." But Olivia was like, "No, I'm not ready to lose this election." And so when they're searching, it was like weird, because what was the numbers were off, and then we also went off on that side tangent with Charlie and Quinn about getting engaged, but they were like, they found this voicemail. Was it? Or am I mixing up this? Am I doing my timeline wrong?
Yeah, I believe they said there were 533 calls and 833, and Huck's like, "Oh, I thought we had 832."
Yes.
So that kind of leads them to discover the voicemail.
But that face that Mellie made when Olivia said, "But I'm not ready to leave." That was priceless to me, and I thought that at that moment she realized something new about Olivia. She knew she was determined, but she was like, "This isn't about me.
Right.
It's not about me. It's about you." The gathering of the information was a little weird to me, because I thought that they would find something solid.
Yeah.
So when they said the missing voicemail just happened to be, and let's try to track it, and then they went to the woods and came back real quick. She's like, "I can't get in contact with them," and they're back coming to the door. Quinn and Huck, and then when they heard the voicemail, I just thought that there would be something that was just so mind blowing.
Yeah.
Not just one individual saying it's Cyrus. How do you know?
That's-
I need her to give a little more.
Yeah.
She just said it's Cyrus. I was like,
And you saw him because where's the proof?
Because I'm not. Did she even mention like a murder? I think she literally was just like, I don't know how to say this, but it's Cyrus.
Yep.
I'm like, what is Cyrus?
Right.
Like, what did he? And see, that's the other reason why I feel like I don't know if it's him. The fact that he was so shocked, that felt real to me. And even when Olivia approached him about it, he still felt very shocked, and not like you caught me, but like in a like, what are you talking about way, or at least that's the way I took it. And so I
took it as, you caught me.
I don't know, part of me still feels like it's not him, because that's what they want us to think, guys. Like they want us to think it's Cyrus, and I don't think it is.
I think that Cyrus wants Olivia to think that it's Cyrus. I think that he actually did it, and he wants to send her. I think he covered his tracks so well, and he wants to send her on this goose chase and then embarrass her at the end of the day, like, you couldn't catch me. Because that's kind of what happened in this episode. She thought she had it all figured out and was like, wow, I was wrong this time. So I feel like with those two, they're so conniving. I think he's already a step ahead of her, and he's making her see what he wants her to see. I just don't put anything past Cyrus. Like, the craziest twists have come from him.
I think he did it. I think that she doesn't have enough right now. I believe her. Her gut is usually right. So let's not forget that. But I just need more. I can't wait till next week.
Do we think
really
Papa Pope did it at all?
I'm on I think he did
For her to win? No. I don't know.
Because I say if he was going to do it, then you shoot both of them.
But that would have been too much. I don't know.
He's gotta be subtle, and I feel like he's a very subtle player.
Right.
Like he'll do it, and he may do something big, but then he'll like let it sit for a bit, and then set people up to screw themselves over. Like I feel like that is how he would play. He would let Cyrus take over, and then set Cyrus up to screw up. Because doesn't he have that one, I forget the dude's name, but his henchman that he was dating randomly, which also I felt was like, where did this come from? Tom. And I'm like, where
broke it off.
That was he did Tom so wrong.
But now think about
now
that.
He's disgruntled.
Because Tom is now rogue. Because remember he was like, I'm sorry, I'm going back with his new husband. Which what is it? Michael. So
on the spot.
So I'm saying.
So you think that Tom maybe tried to assassinate Cyrus and missed?
What I'm saying
he's
is
we
know that
assassin.
Tom was B613.
Right.
We know Papa Pope was head of B613, that to me makes sense.
I see. So
you're saying
why
Papa
introduce
Pope?
Papa Pope like in the episode? Why make him be the one to say it's Cyrus? And that's it. That's the only time we see him.
Yeah, and then he just goes away.
Right. So
I'm
don't
just
know.
saying.
We'll see. Yeah.
But who's the guy? They named someone as being the shooter, but it's someone that we haven't been introduced to yet.
The name slipped me because they
I was
said it
like,
like
he
once or
worked
twice.
alone.
Yeah.
I think I wrote it down.
Did you?
Do I have
Yeah,
the
'cause
shooter's name?
I know that they
I
said
feel like
it, but he
they
was like,
introduced Papa Pope because he
No, I don't have it.
is just so manipulative, and it shows her relationship with him still being swayed by him and still listening and still being shook by him.
Yeah.
You know,
He has a hold on her.
He does. He really does.
I want to call attention to something that we kind of like glossed over initially, but right after they announced that President-elect Vargas had won, Jake disappeared for a little while.
Right.
Did anyone think that
I
was
noticed
weird?
that.
Because Fitz called it out later on when they were in the Situation Room discussing the active shooter, like, oh, good time for you to go missing, like you're back. What was that
Yes,
about?
I heard that quickly.
I
even think
did.
about
I
that.
didn't either.
I remember it now that you say it, but that didn't even cross my mind.
I just didn't know what would benefit Jake to be the shooter. I didn't know how it would be. But didn't he kind of want to be president or something for a little bit?
I don't know that he's necessarily involved in
didn't.
that, but I just
But
think that it was strange that he wasn't there.
He was.
I just think that
that's different.
maybe
that's incriminating. At least it's called
Yeah.
suspicion.
Especially
yeah.
because they're all part of the same underground organization.
Right.
He didn't want to be president, and in the last, the season finale, he actually told Liv, he was like, now that I'm free from your dad, I'm not going to go out there on stage to announce myself as Millie's vice president. She's like, put this tie on.
Yeah.
You better put this tie on, you know. So, no, he doesn't really have a motive, you're right.
But I think because like in that moment when she gave him the tie, I think it set into him like, oh, I'm free of Papa Pope, but now I'm Olivia Pope. It's like so it's like the power just transferred.
Right.
So I think that there's tension there as well, and like I don't know if it's tension enough to kill, but that is going to have to be an issue because it's like he is now her bitch.
I think so too, because I noticed also in this episode that you didn't really see any interaction between Jake and Olivia directly. You saw Olivia interact with Fitz, and it seems like, you know, they're on decent terms. We saw Mellie and Marcus interact, and they used to have a thing. I feel like we saw everybody kind of like touch base except those two.
I feel like more time passed, kind of, and everyone's interaction with each other. I didn't feel like we left from election night.
No.
I mean, election time to straight up election night. Because even with Mellie and Marcus, I felt that was a little odd, a little strange.
Awkward.
And even just him transitioning to be press secretary. I'm sorry, he was just on the trail with Millie, being her right-hand man. Now he's up in the press room.
People
giving
are
her
like
announcements. What
that.
happened?
Maybe I guess you're right. We don't have all the details about, I guess, how that played
over those
out.
hours.
Sure
What is it,
not.
about 8 hours it takes? I mean, a lot could have happened.
Because I think when we left off, I'm pretty sure it was like months before. Because if she just announced who her VP was, so election night is going to be like 4 or 5 months.
Yes.
So I guess that is. I didn't even think about that either. There probably has been 4 or 5 months from where we were to where we are.
So we're gonna have some flashbacks.
Yeah, have to. Also, because I'm like, Rosen was in this episode. David Rosen was in it, and like, he was having that thing with Portia. I don't know her name of the show.
Oh, Portia de Rossi.
Yeah.
Liz.
Liz.
Yes,
So they were having
Liz
that
North.
thing, and I'm like, but like, because he wasn't into it, and then he was, and then like, so, and I'm forgive me for not remembering. Like, how did that ever get resolved? And like, I wonder how that's gonna come back into play. Because I'm like,
She broke up with him, right? Because
She broke up with him. Well,
Twice.
I think
'Cause
he
he
the
was
last
still
time he was
her
with
VP,
Susan.
yeah.
Yes.
And then after that, she kind of got with him to push him to become the VP
Right.
for Vargas.
Right.
So then when he wasn't chosen, they kind of
fizzled out.
Yeah, fizzled out.
Oh, because she's also hungry for power.
Yes.
And so
Yes,
she's
she is.
she's trying to get. So I'm saying, the fact that we haven't seen her also makes me nervous because I'm like, she's also conniving.
Yeah,
so.
she is.
There's so much.
There's so many. There
seems
literally
like-
are so many suspects.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it seems like all the other key players are still in the game, though. Like, we got a glimpse of everybody. So I want to lead that into our predictions for the season, if we can cue the lights.
Your AfterBuzz TV.
So ominous.
I know.
We kind of touched on it, the fact that, you know, it's already starting out with flashbacks. Like, I'm curious to know if this whole season is going to be flashbacks. Are we ever going to get fully into the present and what that present looks like right now? That's my prediction / question, I guess, for the show.
You know what I feel like is going to happen? I feel like it's going to be this season will set up the presidency, obviously, and I think there are going to be a bunch of flashbacks, and I think the end of this season will be a flash forward, because I feel like ABC shows love to do flash forwards, and I feel like this will be one of those things where it's like the season's going to like kind of cover up for, like, not cover up, but take place of the fall. Like, these are the things that would have happened in the fall. Here's a little bit of what's happening now, and now let's go 2 years into the presidency, and then we're going to see whoever is president ultimately, because right now it's Cyrus, but who knows if that'll be a thing.
Yeah,
sort of Cyrus.
unofficially.
And so I feel like we are going to flash forward at some point in the season. We're going to be in the middle of someone's presidency. And part of me feels like it won't end up being Cyrus, because I think Rosen saying the Electoral College is the only thing that matters. I think that's very important, and that is going to come back to play in this season.
I like that.
Well, Ryan, I got nothing to say now.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
You pretty much took all my predictions. So basically what you said, I think the same thing. It's going to be a bunch of going back and getting the story, and then eventually a fast forward. And I don't know. I'm just looking forward to it. But yeah, what Ryan said.
Sorry.
Well, my prediction is a little bit different, because I feel like they're going to utilize this season to really play out that 4-month period or 2 months between him being president-elect to the electoral vote, and I think that we're going to see a lot of digging on Olivia's side and try to find proof, and new things are going to kind of surface, and then hopefully at the end, by the end or midway through this season, we will have the new president. And I think we're going to see the struggles at the beginning. I think it may do a little reflection of kind of what's going on right now with putting in, different type of executive orders and aligning the cabinet, especially because we know some of the major players. So we're going to see that process kind of unfold, I feel like. I don't think we're going to get to 2 years just yet. Maybe next season.
Interesting.
I have a question for you guys. I mean, this episode didn't really tackle it, but I'm curious to know your thoughts about just the rest of the season, about just like the relationships on the show, because, Olivia's single right now. Is she ever gonna run off into the sun with Jake? Like, what's going on?
No, her and Fitz are gonna end up together, unfortunately. Like, they make
you're
me
still holding out.
No, I don't want them to be together. I'm like thinking about this show. I think they will end up together, but like I don't want them. I think that they're very.
So you think post-presidency, maybe Liv and Fitz can find Vermont?
I think that's going to be a thing. 100%.
I don't think so.
You don't?
I don't. I feel like they may introduce a new love.
Interesting.
That would be dope.
This
I would
season.
prefer.
Because, part of the way that the president is, part of what attracted her to him is his power, is him being so high up. And with him being removed, he's like, I'm ready to retire. And she's still on her grind and her hustle. So I don't think that she's going to want to settle and just live life. I felt like that time kind of passed when they had that little riffle when she moved into the White House for that small period of time. But I secretly hope that she's with Jake, because I just love them two together.
Team Jake
yeah,
over
Team
there.
Jake, always, from the beginning. I've always been Team Jake. Yeah.
I used to be Team Jake, but just for him, because I love Jake so much, Olivia he's not the one. She always chooses Fitz. In the end, she always chooses him. But I'm over there drama, so I'm hoping for a new love interest.
Yes,
I was gonna say, I really hope that Olivia gets a new love interest, because I feel like everyone else has had a new one except her. It's always been just Fitz or Jake. Like, Jake was married to someone else for a little while. Even Huck had somebody.
She had Edison.
He was like, nah.
Yeah, he was very
Just like
much
somebody
so.
like completely new. Even Mellie had like Marcus as a jump off for a little bit. Like everyone had somebody else for a little while. I want Olivia to,
Someone else.
something else. Make it a
Oh, she
scandal.
had that
you know?
B-16 guy.
Oh, wasn't it
the one that Jake ended up killing?
Because he
Because
was
he shot at her.
He
his
was
wife.
like, wasn't he supposed to be vice president
Oh,
or something?
yeah.
I remember that. Or he had a fling. Like, I remember she loved him, and Fitz found out and got really mad. Which I was like, you have no room to be upset about her having an affair. Because I forget who he was.
The
but
black politician? Are you talking
No,
is that
the
who you're talking
black.
about?
No, I'm talking about the black guy who was a part of B6 who came into Liv's
Mellie?
life.
yes.
Liv's life. You're talking about Andrew,
Yes.
not the one that Olivia.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I'm thinking of. Okay.
Yeah.
She did. I remember
Yeah,
that.
the channel.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, either way, this season is gonna be nuts.
Electric. Yeah.
You know what else I forgot? I forgot that they had a child. Fits in. And
I
I was like, Teddy was there, and I was like, oh, I
They
forgot.
sprinkle him in when it's
Yeah.
appropriate.
Right.
They took the other kid away.
they have a daughter.
She had a daughter.
She's a
and
teen.
But
Son
no,
died.
she had an episode last season where she was wild, didn't she? Was that her, or there was like an episode when there was a teenage like kid who was like out there wilding out? And I thought it was his daughter.
But I
You know,
I think it
I
was a politician. I know what
For
you're
some
talking
reason, I just
about.
Might have
thought
been
it
a
was
case.
her.
Yeah.
It was a case, and I guess I
Yeah.
thought it was their daughter. But yeah, where did she go? Bring
She's at
her
boarding
back.
school.
What about, how do y'all feel about the cases? Because part of, we kind of were talking about earlier what season kind of was more interesting than the other. And a lot of people were turned off that season that Olivia got kidnapped because they felt it turned into too much drama and there wasn't enough cases. And people watched the show to see Olivia fix things.
right.
I do love.
So
those
you think they're
episodes.
going to start rolling back in the cases? Or she has too much to fix right now with the whole
I think
election?
she's so in bed with the White House at this point that,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
OPA and what they stand for and what they do is just not on the radar right now.
I do like the case episodes though.
Yeah.
I think they become very interesting because it's like a one-off. It's like, oh, that was a fun little
Right.
We had our
tidbit
little
about the government.
subplots.
Yeah.
And I like to see her
Fix,
go in. I like that walk,
Yes.
that face. The fast speaking Abby channeled her when she was in the hospital.
Yeah.
She's like, who is this person? Okay, you're gonna close up the door. You know who I am? Like, I was like, okay.
Abby's been
You better
strong for a
speak
while
fast.
now.
You better
That's
speak
awesome.
fast.
She did. It's handled.
It's
Yes,
handled.
it's handled.
Well, we'll see how this season is handled. We're actually out of time for tonight, but this was great.
Yes.
First episode in the books.
Oh my goodness. Next time we're gonna need some wine,
Yes.
some popcorn.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in with us. I want to shout out to all the people listening on AfterBuzzTV.com or watching live on YouTube. Thanks for joining us. I know it's super late on the East Coast right now. And to all of our listeners on the podcast, thank you for joining us. Like us on Facebook and check us out here next week, same time, same place. I'm your host, Christine Alexis. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Christine Bean. Where can we find you, Ryan?
Hey, I'm Ryann Graham. You can find me on Twitter at Ryan with 2 Instagram and on Instagram at Instagram.
Hey guys, I'm Parris Rose, so stalk me on Instagram. I'm Parris Rose.
Hey everyone, I'm Jessica Williams. You can find me on Twitter at /Miss Jessica and on Instagram at Miss Jessica Williams.
There you have it.
It's been fun.
See you guys next week.
Night.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.